Okay, welcome to the Completed Life Poetry Corner. For this particular month, Emily Dickinson has a great little poem that also runs corollary to this idea of death, mortality, and the final things of life. This is from Joyce Carol Oates' little nifty edition called Essential Dickinson. And this one we've heard before. I won't offer commentary, but we'll get the chance to hear it. And then after this poem, we will hear one more Emily Dickinson poem that I'll offer a bit of commentary on. But this one is called Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer, my gown, my tippet, only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. Okay, a little bit of commentary. Why are poets always wrestling with the unknown? And I think it gets back to what Dr. Cornel West mentions with the humanities begins with the massive bodies. Both poets are wrestling with the unknown in a way to bring comfort, and ultimately in a way to guide their own lives. To a certain degree, we know how it turns out, but even so, we still make that heroic effort to rise daily and to prevail to some degree, to kind of make our mark. This is just a really gorgeous poem here by Emily Dickinson again, and it looks at the light in winter. And this is particularly interesting little moment, because the idea of the light in winter is very intriguing, especially around the solstice, right? Usually, around December 21st in the Western Hemisphere, the shortest amount of daylight, and then after that, the days become longer. For me, as an academic, I see my students in the fall, and I see them again in the spring, and so I think that's kind of an interesting little calendar to be on, just as a person. But even the idea of winter, for some, that solstice is about a rebirth that's happening. And we could think about the certain rituals around light that occur in the darkest times. And this is art, this is religion, this is spirituality. There's a lot of ideas behind light. And whether we're considering Diwali or Hanukkah or even Christmas or any religion, you'll note this idea of light and the dark playing off of each other. And these are usually larger metaphors for knowledge and gaining wisdom as well. But to have a poem describe light in the way that Emily Dickinson does in this poem is quite remarkable, because she infuses the light of winter light on a snowy field in western Massachusetts. She reads that type of light through the realm of music, and she gives weight to lightness. There's a certain slant of light, winter afternoons, that oppresses like the heft of cathedral tunes. Heavenly hurt it gives us, we can find no scar, but internal difference where the meanings are. None may teach it any. 'Tis the seal despair, an imperial affliction sent us of the air. When it comes, the landscape listens. Shadows hold their breath. When it goes, 'tis like the distance on the look of death. So an image of a sunset that doesn't become a romantic portrait of a sunset, with the pink flamingos and the lovers arm in arm strolling down beaches. Well, this is very akin to what Cornel West mentions in terms of the intellectual allows suffering to speak. And Emily Dickinson here is acknowledging the fact that sometimes in winter, a sunset can create a mood of melancholy. And it's that tinge of beauty and sadness that creates the weight, creates the health of cathedral tunes. So two takes on death by Emily Dickinson. One is a very courteous livery driver, and the other just as a certain slant of light, but both having an amazing impact upon one's spirit.